this working? Okay, cool. All right. Hi. Yeah, it's me. It's Ted. I haven't done something like this in ages. I was looking at the that last tutorial I did 7 years ago about how to do floating rifles, and oddly enough, it has 12,000 views, which is really weird to me. But one of my friends, Dustin, Redacted Images, asked me how I did basement selfies, and I've been doing selfies of myself for as long as I can remember because I have always pretty much worked alone in my basement. My last rifle one, my last rifle tutorial was in a different house, so I have moved. Welcome to my studio office. And I'll go over all the things that you need to take good selfies of yourself in your basement. So, biggest thing, let me take this off here. Biggest thing is you need a background. I mean, if you don't have a background, that's fine. You can always just use a towel, not a towel, like maybe like a big sheet. You can buy some tablecloth, whatever. Make sure you buff it out. Not buff it out. I would say iron it out, yeah, or steam it out. So I've set up my basement very much like one of my really good inspirations, Joe Edelman. His basement photography studio was absolutely awesome. So I have over here, I have these wall-mounted, other than all these crazy C-stands, I have wall-mounted lights. So I have my background, which is going to be gray. I have one light, and I have a key light up here. I have one side light, and then I have an extra light on the bottom here. You can always use a reflector, but I just have, since I have the opportunity to use lights, that's what I'm going to be doing. These are all Interfit honey badgers. I love them. They're much like alien bees. So I have a bunch here. I have one mounted into my ceiling up there, one over here, one there that's not on. That could light your background if you want it to. And then I'm gonna have one down here. So yeah, let's get to it. The biggest key to taking good selfies of yourself is having a monitor to review yourself. For the longest time I didn't. I always used a flip to side screen. So if I did want to not have that monitor that's actually, you know, plugged in over here, what I did for the longest time was I flipped my screen out. Now, my current setup right here doesn't have a flip screen, but I have an extra camera here. So if you have a camera that flips out, you know, if you want, you can just flip it around, turn it on. You have your selfie cam, so you can do it that way. One other option you can do, I'm just doing one long take, so we'll see how this works. You could also, if your camera has capability of broadcasting to your cell phone, you could use the cell phone as your trigger. So if you have a camera that has the technology to do that, you could use it to trigger, and then you could actually look at yourself, you know, doing your posing. So if you don't have all that, and if you don't have autofocus, and you don't have all this stuff, what you could do, like back in the day, what I would do is I was a DJ, and I would bring a stand, like a literal stand for my speaker, and I didn't have any of that cool stuff like autofocus tracking or anything, and I would put a stand in the middle, right where I needed to focus. I would manually focus on that stand, and then I would come over here. I would hit the button on the camera for a timer. I would move the stand away, and I would pose. So there's a lot of options that you could do. Best option, I would have to say, is get one of these. And I've been using them ever since the video that I did with the rifles. I've been using this trigger. Now this is the trigger. This is the Pixelopolis wireless remote control trigger. Let me see if I can get them in close here. This thing. I use this all the time in the studio. Green trigger. See, and it has a timer on it. And the timer is absolutely essential for when you need to pose yourself. Other than that, I have what else is going on here? I have a USB power into my camera. I have the long HDMI cable to my monitor so I can see what I'm doing. My video light so you can see what I'm doing. I have my trigger up here for my camera. Here, let me just bring this down here so you can see what's going on here. All right, this is my trigger for my lights. And then I have all of that jazz right here. This tripod I've had since the rifle thing. So this looks very familiar from the last thing. I'm using the A7R4 with the 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8, which is my favorite lens for all of my event photography, for studio stuff. It's just a good amount of focal length. You don't have to change anything. It's great. So all of my settings are shown in my monitor. Previously, what I had to do is I'd had to look at the back of my camera or flip it around. If you look at this monitor and you look, and I can press it and see how it comes right in focus. Very, 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 very useful. You trigger with this, you get all of your information from your monitor. Now what I usually like to do is I like to have enough of your backdrop. Now this is a 12-foot backdrop. If you don't have enough room for this, like the smaller version works. This is all Savage, so these are all Savage paper. I really like the paper quality. And right now it looks a little ruffled here. That doesn't matter too much because I will be flagging all of the light pretty much out. So this is why I'm using a grid here. This doesn't spill too much, and that doesn't spill too much either because it's just highlighting the bottom. I do want a little spill just because I don't want a completely black background, but that's what I'm doing. So let me set this back up and we can get going on shooting. Biggest thing, have your whole setup on your monitor or on your phone or however you want it. I'm going to bring this up just a little, just a tad. All right, up a little bit. If you are self-conscious of yourself and you do not want a double chin, shoot higher. Bring your tripod up so you're shooting down at yourself. If you don't have a tripod that goes all the way up, then I suggest attaching it to something that you can push up pretty far. So there you go. Oh, let's go a little higher. Okay. The only problem with this whole setup is that I have very short ceilings, very low ceilings, and I actually had to knock out a bit of the ceiling here to even get this thing up here. Have your if your camera has like eye detection or face detection, have that on because you want your face in your in your camera in focus because that's very very needed. So best thing, take a test shot. So you sit here and you're like, hey, I want to take a test shot. Cool. And the test shot looks like come on, there we go. Oh no, all right. Is it not coming through? There we go. Okay, so my test shot, and I'm gonna probably post this on the screen so you can see the test shot. Not bad. The lighting is pretty okay. I have top lighting. I have right lighting. I have like my light here. If I wanted to, maybe I want to rim light myself. So Depends on what you have. This all requires a bunch of equipment and stuff, but if you just have like literally light bulbs from Home Depot, great. Defuse those things though, because those are pretty harsh. Try to get something, get like a t-shirt. Don't set your stuff on fire because of the light bulb, because it's hot. But diffusion really helps. So I'm gonna give a little bit of a rim light on myself here. I don't even know if you could see me right now, but I'm putting a rim light on myself. So I'm gonna turn this back towards myself so I don't bring that. There we go. All right. So I'll turn this on. Okay, so now I have a rim light on myself. I don't think you even saw me do that, but I stuck a light behind me. So let's try this once again. Okay. I was too forward, so none of the light coming from the top here is actually hitting my face, so I need to move backward a little bit. I actually have a piece of tape on the floor. I don't know why I don't use it. So let's try again. Okay, now I have a rim light on myself coming from the back, and let me just check the exposure and all the things. Now, depending on your lighting situation, you have to change all those settings. Now, studio lighting is hard to get too used to, especially if you're using strobes. If you're using constant light is wonderful, absolutely awesome, because you get the right exposure in camera. You don't have to worry about flashes. But I mean, if you want everything, like if you're doing a lot of studio stuff and you want everything in focus, I'm shooting right now. Come back here to here, come on, load. I'm shooting at 1/160th, f/16, so that's pretty high, ISO 100. So for studio stuff, I shoot pretty high f-stop. For like lifestyle photography, a little different. I like that nice background separation. But studio stuff, I usually keep it pretty high. If you're doing constant light, that f-stop's probably gonna come back way down. Just keep that in mind when you're doing stuff, when you're posing. If you have stuff in front of you, they're gonna be out of focus. So the best thing about that timer that I have on this little doodad here, so I can stick it in my pocket. I can pose myself, and I gotta push this thing so you can do, like, it's the same thing as your regular camera stuff. You can push it in, half press, it focuses, so you can see that focus thing floating around on my screen, and then hit it. Now the camera has like 10 seconds, and you're just like this. There you go. There's the first one. If you didn't like that, you can do another one. Hit another one. Oh, flashes didn't fire. Cool, so you try again. There you go, flash is fired, and I have a photo of myself. Now, if you have props, I don't have a prop right now. I don't know. Let's camera. If you have a prop, and you don't want your hand on the trigger, you can put it in your pocket. Sometimes I have Velcro, and I can like stick it on these things, and I can trigger it. So if you have a prop and you're just like, hey, and you don't have to worry about your hands because they're below the frame. But if your hands are in the frame, then stick it in your pocket, trigger it. There you go. There's not much else to taking basement selfies. I say basement selfies because most of my selfies have been in a basement, in my studio, because my studio for some reason always ends up in my basement. But that's really it. I'll probably do a little post work, just because I really do shoot wide, so you see like a lot of stuff over here, just because sometimes I'll have stuff with me and like it'll go into this or it'll go close to this, and I need that extra real estate. You could always, turn your camera into portrait and then shoot that way. This is very much like my headshot setup, except instead of using the strobe down here, I do have a reflector because I do have something that comes up here. If you want a little bit more, let's do an example. If I wanted a little bit more light underneath me, that's what this extra, strobe's for. Usually a big reflector works fine. So I'm going to turn this up a little bit, and this will be my light from below. So let's do this again. Light from below, half press to focus. And there you go. Have some light below your below the chin. So that's it. I'm going to move to the computer here, and we'll do some post work. So I'm in Lightroom. If you don't use Lightroom, then use your favorite photo editing app. These are all my silly test shots. I look very, very concerned in a lot of these. So test. This was without the rim light, and then I have the rim light, and then one underneath, and then here, yeah, the one that the flash didn't fire, and then the last one, and then the one with the camera. So yeah, so there's a few here, and then the last one here, my okay, so let's just use this one. I'm gonna develop this. I have a bunch of presets that I have come to use a lot. I'm just gonna use my Fuji Warm, which takes some of the shadows here, and let's see, not bad. Next thing, I'm gonna crop it in. So let's crop it in. Let's get the whoops, don't want to do that. Let's take this off here. I'm just gonna crop this stuff out. I have a lot of background here. Let's take this here. Great. Okay. Maybe I want a little bit more shadows here. My background is completely blank, which is nice. That's what I wanted. You can see my silly mic here. All right, that looks good. And yeah, that is my selfie with a little bit of rim light from the side. I have some highlight from the bottom. I have one key light from the top, and then a highlight here. Yeah, so I can export this and use it for whatever I want. If you don't have an iPad, this is really good for actually interacting with your stuff. So if I wanted to take this out, let's actually I'll take it out in Photoshop. So I like Photoshop's generative remover, and if you haven't tried a toolbox, here, I'll bring this up to the camera. Toolbox is great. This is the wired version because it's old, but I use it a lot. Should work as my, yep, and then I can zoom in. This is really awesome. So I can zoom in, zoom out, I can turn stuff, I can make my brushes bigger, smaller. Okay, so say if I wanted to get some of this stuff out, go to my remove tool, so I can swipe back and forth through this little brush here, remove this. This is how I do a lot of my headshots, actually. So if I have like people who have dogs, cats, whatever, I can remove that. And say I want to get rid of this, lanyard, or not lanyard, mic setup here. Let's turn that off, press it, let it go, let it work through. There you go. Even if you want to take care of like the imprint of it, you should be able to get that out too. Let's try that. There we go. Yep, just look at that. So yeah, that's pretty easy. Save that. Done. Okay.